Here are 9 types of lightworkers and a description of each one. Grid workers. Grid workers work on the grids and gateways of the earth. If you're familiar with the earth's ley lines, then you'll be familiar with the belief that the earth has chakras and is a living, breathing organism. Grid workers tap into the crystalline grid, which can be likened to the earth's nervous system, and is believed to be one of the ways the earth was seeded. The crystalline grid is a creation theory of the history of the earth, and whether you believe it or not, there are many lightworkers who use their abilities to sense where dark energies exist on a spatial plane. Grid workers could also be seen as spatial empaths. People who sense a karmic imprint when they enter a certain building, town, stretch of coast, etc., and are able to use that sense to transmute those dense energies with their compassion and loving presence. For those who believe in archangels, you may be familiar with Archangel Michael's violet flame, a visualization technique that can be adopted by those who know themselves to be a lightworker sensitive to spaces. When you recognize you're in a place that holds those dense energies, rather than become overwhelmed by them, send a loving violet flame into that area in order to cleanse it. Frequency workers. A more general lightworker's path is to be someone who aims to keep their frequencies high and transmute denser energies as they encounter them. This is easier said than done, especially when it appears that the whole matrix, or third-dimensional reality, one which has a dualistic framework and thrives on the law of polarity, is dense and will constantly lower your frequencies as you practice not being affected by it. The experience is similar to surviving in a madhouse where you know you're sane, but nobody believes you. Instead, try keeping your abilities and knowledge to yourself and nurture and cleanse yourself constantly. Being a frequency worker is tough, because you are sensitive to news stories, people, places, agreements, beliefs. You may feel like you don't want to leave the house. Instead, try to not take anything personally and integrate a solid attitude of self-care into your existence. It's good to have a few trusted friends or a site like this one, or YouTube channel where you can increase your frequencies and know you are safe and understood. You are embodying the light, and that is an amazing service. Hats off to you. Transmuting darkness, a timeline worker. If you are a particularly powerful empath and lightworker, then you will be aware of timelines and the bleeding together and compression of time and action. That is, once you become aware of your ability to change a timeline, like stepping onto a parallel reality, one you'd prefer to be on obviously, you become aware of how this decision and action changes everyone else's reality too. A timeline worker is able to take responsibility for an ancestral timeline, for example, and absolve their family karma if their ancestors have racked up a lot of karma. A timeline worker embodies the knowledge that we are one, and takes the helm of this transmutation, lighting the way for others to follow. What you will find is the more you progress, the increasing number of darker entities will be attracted to you. They desire your compassion and actually need help. This is why, during meditation or throughout our day, those with strong empathic qualities will find thoughts that are sometimes alarming and extremely dark floating into their heads. They really don't belong to us, and that is why meditation is fantastic, because it offers us the tools for dissolving them with loving compassion. Third eye future seers, also known as clairvoyants. Seeing into the future is also a side effect of becoming aware of timelines. Third eye seers may get confused as to what everyone else's reality is and may feel isolated from and misunderstood by others. But they will also be excellent at personal and even instant manifestation. The trouble, they may find, is that knowing the outcome can detract them from the process they desire and be surprised by the universe, and therefore can trip themselves up before they've even begun. Bringing reality up to the same level of your expert third eye will be the challenge, as well as remembering to lovingly help others and not just use your abilities for personal gain. Blueprint workers. Holding the divine blueprint for the awakened Earth and the whole of humanity may seem like a stretch of the imagination at first, and, much like the frequency and third eye lightworkers, you may be seen as weird or on drugs if you feel the need to share your visions with friends and family, but please keep the faith. Holding the blueprint for the new Earth, or a heavenly version of human's existence here on this planet is possible. So what does it look like? This is up to you to imagine and manifest through your own speech and actions. Astral travelers. Arriving at this vision may require you to better pay attention to your dreams or out-of-body experiences, if you are able to have and be aware of them. In becoming a lucid dreamer, you can voluntarily enter the Akashic records and access this ripple of potential or well of experience, asking questions and discovering what this alternative and harmonious ways of living could look like. Messenger. Rather than acting on these visions, you may be a lightworker good at carrying messages. Though popular entertainment may have its pitfalls, it has been the most prevalent medium for messages to filter through into the mainstream consciousness for years. Something which has escalated in the 20th and 21st centuries. The mainstream population don't just get their knowledge from popular culture for no reason. Think The Matrix, E.T., Donnie Darko, The Da Vinci Code, Cloud Atlas, not to mention the lyrics of legendary singers such as Bob Marley. These messages carry an imprint with them and are often channeled in moments of heightened creativity where the conduit moves up into fourth or fifth dimensional frameworks and is able to channel the themes into a creative piece of art. Forget muses, a messenger lightworker is able to communicate these higher patterns to the masses in the form of undercover service, heightening vibrations, and the collective unconscious. Active blueprint weavers. Having accessed the Akashic records during a dream exploration, or perhaps moving up through the dimensions whilst raising their frequencies, an active lightworker will carry back an idea, usually an invention, think Nikola Tesla, or idea that can enhance our lives and manifest the global awakening by putting it into action. These kind of lightworkers are what the world needs more than ever and will replace political figures, bankers and businessmen who have been serving themselves for thousands of years. Indigo, rainbow and crystal children especially have been springing up in this capacity, bringing fantastic inventions that could rock the world and completely reduce pollution and the abuse of resources. These active blueprint weavers must start by removing their own carbon footprints and living in harmonious co-creation with others and start from there. Way showers. The way showers are those who have done it. They're the ascended first wave who are teaching others how to ascend and join them in the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is not a place, rather the same reality, but where an individual is vibrating at a different frequency and are embodying the enlightened human. Their outer reality reflects their inner one and they are not suffering, rather are living their truth and are prosperous, having mastered and gone beyond the third-dimensional material reality. This is often misunderstood in that we see way showers as being monastic and owning nothing. That they've dedicated their lives to the truth. Rather than being without, they have simply transcended the fear of lack. This means that they don't need to plan for the future, but trust that their higher selves will direct them and the universe has provided them with everything they need. Life flowers for them in the moment, and they have no need to survive but simply be. So there it is, the 9 types of lightworkers. You may find you have all or some of these attributes, but you most likely have at least one. There is a wealth of knowledge out there for each specific lightworker path, and last but certainly not least, the fountain of your own inner knowing. Source.